Hi there. So in response to the Castle video about SEL for parents, I was inspired by the passion that all the parents, educators, and administrators in the video shared for social emotional learning. It was amazing to see how many people care about our kids and how wide that social circle gets. What resonated with me was when Michelle Jackson, who works for the Office of Social Emotional Learning for Chicago's public schools, explained the 5 competencies of social emotional learning, including self-awareness, self-management, social awareness, relationship skills, and responsible decision making. She says that they all apply to being successful anywhere. She said that that's the kind of employee she'd like to hire someday, or the student that she'd like to have in her classroom, or the person that she'd like to study with after school. Since it's every teacher's intention to set their students up for future success, it's refreshing that schools and districts are recognizing the value of SEL and that it's being embedded into academic curriculum. The integration of SEL not only helps us carry out our dreams of seeing our students go on to be successful adults as teachers, who can manage their emotions and relationships and make responsible choices, but it also supports teachers right in their classroom by giving their students the tools that they need to be present and focused learners. When students are more in control and learning these competencies, it seems to result in less time for the teachers spent on classroom management and more time on academics in a space where students feel safer and more excited about learning. The caregiver's role in the social and emotional development of children. The video mentions that it's important for kids to feel a partnership between their caregivers and their school, that parents are a child's #1 role model and educator from day one. Children learn so much about how to treat others at home, and they need opportunities to practice what they've learned at school in real-life situations. Parents need to maintain contact with the school to show that partnership, and it's the parents' responsibility to model SEL for their children. Parents need to demonstrate and teach how to manage stress and emotions and handle conflict. They need to teach them how to have patience, empathy, and respect for themselves and others, and how to have healthy interactions with their peers, teachers, and members of the community. Parents need to teach their children ultimately how to make good decisions, cooperate, communicate, and play well with others. Schools need to teach SEL curriculum and instruction. The responsibility of the school, much like that of the parent, requires modeling SEL and teaching them how to build relationships and make good decisions. Incorporating SEL into the classroom promotes a positive environment that sets the tone for learning and results in better academic performance, better attitudes towards school, fewer negative behaviors, and reduced emotional stress. Also, at a school level, there needs to be school-wide practices and policies in place that make students feel safe and meet their social emotional needs while they grow into these skills. Schools also need to provide resources to parents and students in their communities to help their families be more successful. Schools that I've worked at seem to try and promote healthy behaviors and choices, such as over the intercom when they're doing like the daily announcements. And there have been some schools that have built in time even throughout the week for team building activities. I think that they could go a step further though and make more opportunities for reflection and purposeful SEL teaching. The community's role in social and emotional development is supporting the partnerships between children and their families, other people who other people who come into their lives. It needs to be a place where students can see and practice respectful interactions and be inspired by positive influences, by people who are making responsible choices and setting good examples for our kids. I feel like there are good and bad influences in every community, but it's the responsibility of everyone in the community to make it feel like a safe space for our kids to grow. Without even knowing what SEL was, I realized through the examples given in this video that I've been teaching my daughter these skills for her whole life. I know that it's made a difference because of how mature and kind she is, and every time I step into a classroom to substitute, I also try to have a reflective discussion with the kids to make them think deeply about how they move and interact with others in the world. I've just started my research into SEL, but I'm already motivated to do more SEL practices both in my home and classroom someday. I feel like it'll be easier to build an SEL-inspired classroom from the first day of school if I immediately start incorporating SEL skills into our routine, but not everyone's going to pick it up the same way, and it's not their fault. If it's not practiced or modeled at home, and the partnership between families and communities and schools isn't there, it's really hard for students to overcome the negative behaviors and influences around them. My challenge is really going to be working with parents, families, and communities to communicate and offer ideas to make SEL a more integrated part of each of my students' lives. And that's it. Thank you.